Welcome. I am excited to do another live. I think I am on my fifth or sixth day and challenge for doing a live video. So welcome. I hope you'll give me a little bit of grace because I'm pretty new to doing this. Thank you for those of you that have joined. I noticed a couple people were already waiting for the spontaneous one. You saw I was just putting it up. So that is really fun. I want to jump right in. I was thinking about how we constantly plan and promise ourselves that next year is going to be our best year. And we get there. I have an echo somewhere and I'm trying to figure out where that is. So bear with me. I'm not sure if it's feedback somewhere. Anyway, or a headphone I have. Anyway, 2024 is coming. Sorry, 2025 is coming. And I really have committed to finishing strong in my life. Whatever I'm doing, I want to finish it strong. And so many of us, before we finish something, we're already planning and mentally preparing to be somewhere else and doing something else. And so there can be, in this situation, that can be a good thing. We want to finish 2024 strong, but this is the time to get ready for 2025. Waiting for New Year's is not the way to live, because when you're constantly preparing or promising yourself that next year is going to be your best year, you're not working on change right now, and you're not focused on being the person that you want to be. And the fact is, most of the time our motivation dies. Whatever goals you set and whatever plans you make on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, within 5 days, 10 days, they're gone, and you haven't even come close to achieving that. I mean, the statistics, you've probably seen the articles and things written about it. It's just ridiculous. But I have found a key, and that is to stop setting goals, not dreaming. I definitely spend a lot of time dreaming, and in one sense, we set goals, my husband and I, but the focus for me has stopped being on the end game. And it's become my focus isn't on the outcome. My focus is on consistency. My focus is on learning the habits that bring transformation. And what I've realized in recent years is that mini habits are one of the most amazing ways to make this work. And so I have started doing this in a lot of ways in my life. If you've been subscribed to my channel for any amount of time, you might have noticed some other videos feeding into your feed. I have another channel I started, a year and a half ago. And I started out on that channel, and the goal was to kind of publicly journal or document some change I was trying to make in my life. And it morphed pretty quickly, the channel, and I didn't continue going down that road vocally or publicly. But my goal was to work on increasing my health, to losing weight, getting stronger, and building my cardio. I guess technically, let me rephrase that. Having more joy, losing weight, getting stronger, and increasing my cardio. And so I started out with a mini habit, but the people that I know doing this are incredible. They build ridiculously simple mini habits. That's the key, because the idea is doing something that you really cannot fail. And so the guy that I first heard this idea from, his health goal was to do 1 push-up a day, and that was it. And he started off with doing that goal. But what you find is that you trick yourself into doing more. When you've hit a success, you psychologically get the dopamine hit, you get the rush, and then you will continue doing more than you planned, instead of falling short of your goals and then being crushed by the failure that you start to see rather than the successes. And so consistency is the goal, not the outcome. And honestly, it's definitely changed my life. I haven't lost all the weight that I've wanted, but that's only one of the 4 goals I had. And so the mini habit that I built was to start lacing. Was at the time, it was something so ridiculously simple. I think it was to lace up my shoes and go out the front door. I didn't even make myself go for a walk. I didn't even decide that I had to go to the gym. It wasn't anything like that. And so maybe the first few weeks or week, I was going for a walk every day. And then I got going to a gym. I started going to some HIIT classes 2 or 3 days a week. And did that for at least a year. And by then I was walking. I don't think I ever really got into running, but mostly walking and hiking that first year. Started having so much more fun with my kids, just moving my body and being active in a way that I hadn't because of life and some other stresses that had built up in moving to a new place and relocating, and family. We had a family member pass away. And so, life takes its toll, but you can't let that be an excuse for where you end up or what happens. And I'm the first to make excuses. I'm not saying I'm really great at it, but I also I've had to recognize when I'm making those excuses and change. And so what I did a year later, this past January, I started at a CrossFit gym. So I'm doing that a couple of days a week. Oh, and I started playing pickleball about 3 months into this challenge. And so I was combining pickleball, which was one way I started having a blast moving my body. I was doing these HIIT classes. I was walking. I added CrossFit this past year into my program. And I'll tell you, the crescendo of this all came when, or sometimes you hit a moment where there's a moment in time when you are so glad you have made the decisions that you've made to get you to that point. And that happened for my husband or for me. When my husband swam into a raging river, or the more of an eddy off of the raging river, the flooding river of the Nolichucky, just a month ago when the flooding happened, to help rescue 2 people that were trapped in a pickup that was floating down the river. And we were able to help rescue 2 people along with one other person in a pickup that ended up sinking as soon as we pulled them out of this vehicle. And one of the people could not swim and was disabled. And maybe I'll go into that story later, but I walked away from that situation, and this was only a month ago. And I mean, pretty well with tears in my eyes, went back to both went to the gal that owns the CrossFit gym, and went to the gal that leads the HIIT classes that I go to, and just wanted to acknowledge that they had given me the encouragement and the motivation and the consistency to keep showing up. And that if I had not had that strength to draw on, I couldn't have swam in at the capacity I did and shown up in that way to help rescue somebody. And so what do you need to do to show up to finish 2024 strong? I don't know, but whatever that is, this is the time to begin and plan for 2025. Don't wait to 2025 for those New Year's resolutions, and focus not on the goals that you want, but focus on the life change that you want, and begin to make those mini habits, or to create a ridiculously simple mini habit to build that consistency in your life. I hope you, if you're watching, doing live videos is so different from ones where you get to prep ahead or I guess with my life, I don't have the amount of time to prepare that I would like, and I just haven't had the time to edit videos like I used to. And so showing up here to do this, I often think of Mark Twain's quote, which is something to the effect, he wrote a long letter to a friend, and he said, I would have written you a shorter letter if I'd had more time. And so truly, to be succinct, it takes a bit more time on my end, but I don't have that. And so I'm just showing up in the way that I can to hopefully encourage you and challenge you in this way today to make a difference in your life. And hopefully there'll be ripple effects, just like there's been ripple effects in our lives, and in my life in that way. You might wonder why today of all days. If you're watching this later, it won't have any effect, but today of all days, why would I post this video? It's the day after the 2024 election, and there's people disappointed and there's people elated. And so there's a lot of mixed and heightened emotion. We had the Donald Trump, Kamala Harris election, and I guess it struck me that it's like, in one sense, we've entered a new election year and there's a new beginning. And whether we want it or not, sometimes we're not ready for the new beginning. When 2025 shows up on January 1st or December 31st, are you ready for it? I mean, some of us joke that, you're barely practicing writing the calendar year that you just finished and already another one's rolled around. And so most of the time I don't feel ready, but you have to face it nonetheless. And so for me, it just struck me that, you know what, good or bad, whatever the heightened emotion is right now, this is in one sense a new year. And we have new years all over the year. I think about how we have a calendar year, January 1st to January 31st. If you're in business, there's a fiscal year, so you can set your calendar or your fiscal year to start basically any time of year, as long as it's 12 consecutive months. And if you're from another country like China, you're very aware of the Chinese calendar and the new year that is very different from the Western American calendar. And because of my Christian faith, I'm aware of kind of the Jewish calendar and some of the holidays and just the timeline, because that's just something that I both read about and cross paths with people that are talking about in different ways. And so this for me just stood out as a really interesting day to consider. And a number of years ago, I heard a woman tell the story about how she just got tired of going into the winter. Like, she noticed that she had all these big goals in January, but she had just binged on all this food through the holidays. And so she started kind of reverse engineering it, was trying to get some better self-control. And so she started on December, or trying to begin her new year and get a jump started on it, December 15th. And then she rewound it to December 1st and then realized, oh, if I would just rewind a little bit more and really double down before Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving in November, then I can exercise more self-control, maybe not gain extra weight through the holidays that I'm then trying to get off in the new year. And so I think at that point she might have even rewound it into October to avoid the, Halloween and all the Halloween candy. And so I don't know, for whatever reason, I just was thinking about it yesterday, that no matter what the outcome was, this was going to be the start, in a sense, of a new election year or cycle, or the way we're thinking. And it was something fresh, whether you're ready for it or not. And so my challenge for you to do today is to just focus not on goals, but focus on the consistency and mini habits in whatever way you can, even ridiculously small ones, to build on success. And the last thing I want to finish with is just a really sweet story that is such a reminder of the mentality and what you're looking at and who you are and who you're surrounding yourself with. And so I hope this would encourage you to maybe stick around this channel. Maybe, rubbing shoulders with me would change your perspective and your mentality and provoke some growth in a different way, or rubbing shoulders with other people in person, or, really seeking out mentorship from people that are doing the things that you want to do. And we have access to it on levels most of us never could have imagined 10 or 15 or 20 years ago or more. And so that, I think of the story of the man that found this. He found an egg and on the ground under a tree, and he moved that egg into a nesting box. He had some chickens in the backyard, and this little bird hatched out, didn't look like anything like all the other chickens. And it was awkward and gangly, and it grew up. It had different colors, and it got picked on because chickens, if they look for differences and they exploit them, and they are brutal. They're bullies. That's where we get the term pecking order from, because there is a top down and you don't want to be at the bottom, or life is really hard. And so this bird grew up with these chickens and felt like a chicken, looked at everyone around him and believed that's what this chicken was, or what he was constantly bullied and tormented, and, grew up, noticed he was a little bit bigger than everyone else. So he stood out more. He had different colors, so he stood out even more. And one day this bird was looking up high into the sky and saw this gorgeous bird circling above in the clouds and just soaring on the winds, and started talking and asking these other chickens, what is this thing in the sky? And they explained, oh, that's an eagle. And the eagle is the king of all birds, but we're just ground birds. We're just chickens. And, don't go getting any ideas. You're nothing. And you'll never get to do anything like that. We never have. Well, the day came, and I can't remember exactly how it came in the story, but this eagle one day realized, or this bird realized, he was an eagle, and realized that although he'd grown up with all these chickens and lived with all these chickens and was spoken to as if he was a chicken, he was in fact an eagle. And so how that change happened, where that transformation happened, I don't remember the rest of that little bit of a story, but it's important who you surround yourself with, because if you're looking at the people around you, the chances are that bar isn't very high. And if you want to go to the next level, you have to set your sights higher. You need to get around people doing things you never imagined you could even possibly do. And little do you know, you can do more than you ever imagined. And I hope to encourage that here today. So with that, I leave you, and I'll be back tomorrow in some way, shape, or form. Maybe I'll schedule it, maybe I won't. I'm really figuring this out. But thank you so much for watching, and I wish you the best and lots of joy today. Thank you.